I had seen Abraham Lincoln burned and shot to pieces in effigy so often that I looked upon him as a very demon incarnate who was waging a relentless and cruel war on the South to rob her of her most sacred rights. So you can see that the justice of the Southern cause was taught to me in my youth. The way you bend a twig, that's the way it'll grow. So I grew up a rebel.
These were the words of the notorious Texas man-killer John Wesley Hardin. His views were shared by many Southerners in the post-Civil War Reconstruction era. Pride, passion, and prejudice ran deep in the South after the Civil War. No sooner had the smoke begun to clear than a new era of violence swept over the land. Old grudges, post-war chaos, and hair-triggered tempers made for a volatile combination. On a November day in 1868, this son of a Methodist preacher killed a formerly enslaved black man. Hardin claimed the killing was in self-defense, but he knew he was in serious trouble.
To be tried at that time for the killing of a Negro meant almost certain death at the hands of a court that was backed by Northern bayonets. Hence my father, who was a Methodist preacher, told me to keep in hiding until that good time when a Yankee bayonet should cease to govern.
Outlaws of various races preyed on the cattle being driven across the Indian Territory from Texas. John Wesley Hardin was 18 when he first rode up the trail. By Hardin's own count, he had killed at least a dozen men by the time he headed up the trail for Abilene in the spring of 1871. Although Hardin's reputation as a man-killer began in Texas, he is believed to have murdered 8 men on the Kansas cow trails during that bloody summer of 1871. Over the next few years, Hardin's 6 guns claimed the lives of more victims. Some folks estimated that the final tally of the Texas gunfighters' 9-year spree of violence ran as high as 44 men. John Wesley Hardin was one of the deadliest man-killers the West had ever seen. With the Texas Rangers hot on his trail, Hardin's days of freedom were numbered. Hardin was taken to Huntsville Prison to serve a 25-year sentence. After his release, Hardin set up a law practice and moved to El Paso, but he soon fell back on his old habits, gambling and drinking.
I heard a shot fired and Hardin fell at my feet. His last words were, 4 6s to beat.